at one of the most popular tourist spots in the world. A machete-wielding man attacking soldiers in Paris right outside the Louvre. Tourists running for their lives. A second suspect under arrest. Nearly 1,000 locked down in the museum.
Crackdown. President Trump says Iran playing with fire prepares new punishments.
Nothing is off the table.
Right. Plus a new warning to Israel as the president tries to calm fears about his diplomatic style.
When you hear about the tough phone calls I'm having, don't worry about it.
And his new war of words with new Apprentice host Arnold Schwarzenegger. The Terminator fires back. The young man rescued alone at sea a week after he and his mom went missing. Now telling his side of the story, we're going to find out what happened to his mom. Did he intentionally sink their boat? Right here on GMA.
And countdown to kickoff. Super Bowl Sunday is just 2 days away. The Patriots and Falcons quarterbacks are dreaming big.
It is once in a lifetime. You can't take these things for granted.
And the woman ready to light up the halftime stage, Lady Gaga, going one-on-one with Michael exclusively this morning. How she's getting in shape for the spotlight.
You're in better shape than the athletes who are going to be playing the game right now.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Our Super Bowl blowout starts right now on GMA.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
Appropriate way to open this Friday morning. Good morning, America. Much excitement for the Super Bowl 2 days away. You saw that Michael is there in Houston, has a exclusive with Lady Gaga. Amy is there too. We can't wait to hear from her. TJ is there. We've got Jesse Palmer there.
Amy doesn't need a ticket. She's on the field. It's okay.
She's all set.
She is all set. We have a lot of news to get to as well, starting with that breaking news from Paris. A man with a machete attacked shoulders and was shot down at the Louvre. Of course, that's one of the world's most popular museums. It was on lockdown this morning. ABC's Lama Hassan has all the latest. Good morning, Lama.
And good morning to you, George. Heart-stopping moments in the heart of Paris when a machete-wielding man yelling Allahu Akbar lunged at 4 soldiers this morning. The attacker was shot and taken into custody. French authorities are now opening a terror investigation. A massive police presence at the Louvre after a man wearing 2 backpacks rushed towards a group of soldiers and guards, attempting to attack one with a machete while yelling Allahu Akbar. The soldier fired back with 5 shots, wounding the man. Authorities now have him in custody. According to police, the man attacked after being told he couldn't enter the underground shopping area with his bags. The museum, a popular tourist attraction, home to the world-famous Mona Lisa, on lockdown. At least 1,000 tourists inside the Louvre at the time of the incident. They were hustled into safe areas. Many posting messages like this on social media. We have all been locked inside the Louvre. There are hundreds of police vans. Another tweeting, tourists told to sit on the ground in locked halls inside the Louvre. France has been on edge following a series of horrific terror attacks. In November 2015, 130 people were killed after a series of coordinated attacks in the capital. And in July last year, a terrorist drove a cargo truck through a crowd of people celebrating Bastille Day in Nice, killing 84. And as the investigation gets underway, police have arrested a second person at the scene, possibly connected to the attack. Paris's police chief says no explosives were found in the 2 backpacks the attacker was carrying. Robin, George.
All right, Lama, thank you very much. We'll stay on top of this story for everyone. Now, though, to the latest on President Trump, talking tough to America's allies and adversaries, saying this morning in a tweet that Iran is, quote, playing with fire. Let's go to our senior White House correspondent, Cecilia Vega, for more on all that. Good morning, Cecilia.
Robin, good morning to you. As you say, that tough talk is on Twitter this morning, but White House officials say President Trump could be taking tough action against Iran, and that could come as early as today. The new Donald Trump White House this morning is turning up the heat on an old enemy. President Trump considering imposing new sanctions on Iran, a move that could happen as soon as today.
President Trump, military reaction off the table in Iran?
Nothing's, honestly, nothing is off the table.
On Wednesday, his national security advisor ratcheting up the pressure after Iran tested a ballistic missile.
We are officially putting Iran on notice.
At the national prayer breakfast, President Trump giving the evangelicals who helped propel him to the White House a gift so many had wanted, a promise to, quote, destroy a law that bars tax-exempt churches or religious leaders from endorsing political candidates.
Freedom of religion is a sacred right. but it's also right under threat all around us.
The president also addressing that strained phone call with the leader of Australia, one of America's closest allies, brushing off the controversy.
When you hear about the tough phone calls I'm having, don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. They're tough. We have to be tough. It's time we're going to be a little tough, folks.
Top Republicans now trying to mend fences.
I called the Australian ambassador to reinforce to him our commitment to Australia and our relationship.
And down under during a concert in Melbourne, even Bruce Springsteen played diplomat.
All right, we stand before you, embarrassed Americans, tonight.
The boss also adding a bit of political theater to his show.
Don't hang up, oh no, really don't.
And the White House now appears to be in a bit of damage control. The Australian Prime Minister was in a meeting here at the White House with Chief of Staff Reince Priebus and Chief Strategist Steve Bannon, where we're told that they conveyed to him that, quote, the president's deep admiration for the Australian people, Robin.
And Cecilia, and now the White House is issuing a warning to Israel, which is, of course, another close U.S. ally.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a warning to Israel that expanding settlements in the West Bank may, quote, may not be helpful in achieving Middle East peace. This is, of course, a position from the Obama administration, and some say a step away from what some in the Trump administration have said. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is scheduled to meet with President Trump, here at the White House later this month, Robin.
That's right. All right, Cecilia, thank you.
Okay, let's bring in our Chief Global Affairs anchor, Martha Raddatz, for more on this. And Martha, let's start with Iran. We have that latest tweet from the president this morning, Iran playing with fire after Michael Flynn says they are on notice. So the rhetoric has been ratcheted up. These sanctions likely to come as early as today. I think the big question is, what difference will those sanctions make?
Well, given his tweet about Iran playing with fire and that he is not going to be as, quote, kind as Obama, the sanctions may be just a first step unless Iran cuts out these missile tests. George, I don't think Donald Trump is looking to go to war with Iran, but he wants them to knock it off. And if the sanctions don't work, who knows what's next?
And then it'll get into a debate over who's actually breaking that nuclear deal. Also, somewhat of a surprise to see the administration speaking out about settlements in Israel, given how critical they were of President Obama.
Exactly. Israel already this morning is spinning this to say it is not so bad, since the statement by the U.S. is that the settlements may be unhelpful to peace. And in fact, it is far more subtle than statements from the Obama administration. And Israel still considers Trump a bigger friend than Obama.
And on Russia, another bit of a turn as well. A couple of weeks ago, the president was saying that maybe he would do a deal with Russia where he would release sanctions in return for some nuclear reductions. Now his administration taking a harder line because of Russia's actions in the Ukraine.
Exactly. Fighting has escalated between the Russian-backed troops and the government in Ukraine. And the new U.S. ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, took that on, saying, we do want to better our relations with Russia. However, the dire situation in eastern Ukraine is one that demands clear and strong condemnation of Russian actions. This escalation of violence must stop. So while the president plays good cop, the administration is laying down the law in certain places.
And you're seeing other cabinet members assert themselves as well. The Pentagon Defense Secretary James Mattis in South Korea.
We're just going around the world here. George Mattis in Japan and South Korea said unequivocally that we stand with our allies and any attack on our allies will be defeated. I think, George, there is some worldwide confusion about what Trump is doing, but I think what we have seen over these 2 weeks is a president who is ticking through his campaign promises one by one, and that overall the promise to his supporters is to recapture this sense of American nationalism.
That is the goal. Okay, Martha, thanks very much.
And George, as we know, President Trump also facing that showdown on Capitol Hill. He has more unconfirmed cabinet nominees at the 2-week mark than all former U.S. presidents combined. So let's go to our congressional correspondent, Mary Bruce, on Capitol Hill with the latest. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Robin. Well, Tom Price, Trump's pick for HHS secretary, continues to be dogged by concerns about conflicts of interest. The latest this morning, a USA Today report that he purchased $15,000 of stock in a healthcare company before introducing legislation that would have helped that same company. Now, Price has responded to previous concerns about his stock, saying they were made by an outside investor without his knowledge. But that has not stopped Democrats from trying to delay his confirmation over these concerns. They even boycotted a committee vote earlier this week, but to no avail. Price is still headed for confirmation.
Yes, a lot of concern there, though. And there's also seems to be a pretty close call with Betsy DeVos, of course, the nominee for Secretary of Education.
Yeah, Robin, Betsy DeVos this morning is right on the brink. Senators are here bright and early. They just voted on a measure to move forward with her nomination, but there's been a big push up here to try and block her. You've been able to hear the phones up here ringing off the hook. Senators on both sides of the aisle have been flooded with calls from constituents voicing concerns about DeVos, but it does not seem it's going to work. Ultimately, they've counted the votes, and even though 2 Republicans have said they will oppose her, it appears Republicans will have the votes to get her confirmed. That vote coming up on Monday. Robin.
All right, Mary, thank
Okay,
you.
let's get some analysis now of another packed week from our political team, Matthew Dowd and Kristen Soltis Anderson. And Kristen, let me begin with you. So we have this week, it begins with this uproar over the executive order, over this immigration ban. We have the president's pick of a Supreme Court pick, pretty widely praised, especially by Republicans over the course of the next couple of days. Then these diplomatic back and forth over these phone calls. You say Republicans on Capitol Hill in kind of whiplash mode.
That's right, that there are moments when Donald Trump's presidency seems like it is approaching something like a normal presidency, and then within just a matter of hours, things will have completely changed. And this, I think, has Republicans in Washington, especially folks on Capitol Hill, wondering what to do next. That there are moments when the president takes actions that are very easy to praise, right in line with what Republicans would expect from a Republican president. And then there will be moments when things like controversy over Australia come up, and folks on the Hill find themselves having to perhaps answer questions about issues that they never could have imagined would have come across their desk.
And everyone, Matthew Dowd, waits every morning for the president's new Twitter feed, several every morning before 7 a.m. As Martha said, he's trying to create this impression of promises kept, but overall, what kind of impression is he making with the public?
Well, I think, George, that's the problem. And when he started with a record low of job approval numbers, the lowest any president has ever in office. And he set another record, which is the fastest president to over 50% disapproval. The previous record was Bill Clinton. It took 573 days to hit 50% disapproval. Donald Trump hit it in 8 days. And I think part of the problem on Super Bowl weekend, if you think about job approval in a football way, job approval is like the offensive line, right? And if job approval is weak, that means you're much more likely to get hurried, disrupted, and sacked. And the other thing it does with weak job approval numbers, it emboldens the defense. And the defense is much more likely to blitz, which is exactly what the Democrats are doing right now.
Yeah, the blitz is in the streets, Kristen.
You're right that there are a lot of folks who are discovering civic engagement is something that's kind of fun, makes them feel like they're able to do something about what they're seeing in Washington that they're still frustrated about. So you have had the Capitol switchboard absolutely lighting up with people calling in to voice their opinion on some of these cabinet picks. People are really getting engaged and vocal about how they feel about this administration.
And Matthew, the president's team has at times used those protests as a foil, particularly those Berkeley protests yesterday. And the question would be, what kind of difference will this make to Republicans as long as in their districts, Republicans hold firm behind the president?
Well, I think that's the million-dollar question. But Donald Trump right now, even with low overall approval numbers, has approval numbers of 85 or 90% among Republicans and in Republicans' district. I think the question will be when that starts to deteriorate, when that gets below 80%, that's when Donald Trump has a serious problem in Congress.
Okay, Matthew Dowd, Kristen Soltis Anderson, thanks very much.
Well, since Matt brought up the Super Bowl, let's turn now to the big game. Super Bowl 51 kicking off, as you know, Houston on Sunday. The stars of the team, the stage, well, we're getting a clue how they're all preparing for Sunday's showdown. Look who got to Houston. Let's go to Amy, who's there for us. Good morning, Amy.
That's right. I've got some really fun fans here behind me. None of them have been to sleep. I know that's surprising after you heard that excitement here this morning. But, you know, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of great stories from legendary quarterback Tom Brady versus Super Bowl rookie Matt Ryan to Lady Gaga, who's now revealing what her halftime show extravaganza is going to be themed or all about. And then, of course, we have country superstar Luke Bryan making history of his own, singing the national anthem. We know this much. I think you guys are going to agree. Super Bowl 51 is going to deliver.
This morning, all eyes are on Houston with just 2 days to go before the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons duke it out at Super Bowl 51. Overnight, the Gridiron Greats on the field practicing ahead of the big game. The stakes never higher. Something not lost on the team's quarterbacks. Patriots powerhouse Tom Brady looking for his 5th Super Bowl win.
Been a part of 7 really great football teams that have made it this far. You know, I think we got to do our best to finish it off.
And 31-year-old Falcon Matt Ryan, his team heading to this final game for just the second time in 51 years, pushing hard for their first Super Bowl victory ever.
Winning this game. That's where your thoughts are when you're in your backyard and you're 10 years old and playing with your brothers. I mean, that's where it was for me.
As for the halftime show, Lady Gaga's 13-minute extravaganza seems to be shaping up to be a musical tour de force, promising an eclectic mix of her greatest hits. And a special introduction by frequent collaborator Tony Bennett. At a presser on Thursday, Gaga downplaying rumors that Houston native Beyonce, who has performed at 2 halftime shows and sang alongside the Mother Monster on her 2009 hit Telephone, will make a cameo. After sparking rumors, posting this pic Wednesday alongside a bee emoji.
I was actually with her the last halftime show that she did, and she always is very inspiring and gives great advice.
And while Gaga, who's been preparing for 2 months, remains tight-lipped on her actual performance, she's hoping it sparks a feeling of inclusion.
I believe in the spirit of equality and the spirit of this country as one of love and compassion and kindness. So my performance will uphold those philosophies.
Also behind the mic, country star Luke Bryan. He'll be singing the national anthem.
I'm kind of going to walk out there and kind of follow my heart and follow the vibe of the room.
I have Officer Marcus Anderson here with me, and he brought along some Super Bowl history. Pretty incredible stuff. Obviously, you need your own agent for this. You want to open up and show the folks that we have here? These are all 50 Super Bowl rings dating back to 1967. These are what the players are playing for to win the Super Bowl. Of course, Tom Brady playing for his 5th ring. They're so valuable. I'm not allowed to touch these, right? No, he said no, ma'am. He said no, ma'am. So you can just look, but don't touch, Robin.
He was going to slap that down real fast on you. Yes, right there, Amy. Thank you very much. Let's call it audible. Let's go to our good friend Jesse Palmer, of course, a former NFL quarterback himself. He's down there in Houston as well. So tell us, 2 days out, what's going through the minds of the players down there, Jesse?
Well, a lot of nerves, no doubt about it, Robin. Maybe less so for the Patriots because they just, of course, played in this game 2 years ago. But I think a lot of this is about reflection, thinking back to the journey, getting here, all the sacrifices these guys had to make. Remember, every kid who's ever played football growing up dreams about being here playing in the Super Bowl. And I think that adds to the nerves for all the first-time players because, of course, there's no guarantee these guys could ever make it back to this point.
That's true. They got 2 red-hot QBs. What's going to be the challenge, the key for both of them?
Well, I think for Matt Ryan, it's handling the big moment. Never been to the Super Bowl before. He's been so good, though, in the playoffs. 7 touchdown passes, no interceptions. The last 6 quarterbacks to do that all won the Super Bowl and were the MVP of the game. So can Matt Ryan have that kind of performance? And for Tom Brady, he's playing against a very fast, very good young Atlanta Falcons defense. He's got to bring his A game.
All right. Jesse looks so comfortable with that football. He looks like he just wants to get out there and go long. That's so good.
There we go.
Thank you, Jesse. We'll be
Ginger,
back.
what do we have for the Super Bowl forecast?
Yes, and that's the thing. So there is a retractable roof. So a lot of people are saying, what does it matter? It matters because people have got to get to the game. You have tailgating. We put on the Futurecast here around Houston. You can see the showers moving through, but they're going to be light, and the temperature is going to be about 72 degrees at kickoff. Really a nice Super Bowl forecast overall for the Falcons and the Patriots. Your local weather in 30 seconds. First, though, the weekend getaway brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Liberty Mutual stood with me when I was too busy with the kids to get a repair estimate.
Liberty did what?
Yeah, with Liberty Mutual, all I needed to do to get an estimate was snap a photo of the damage, and voila.
Voila. I wish my insurance company had that. Wait, hold it, boys. There's supposed to be 3 of you. Where's your brother? Where's your brother? Hey, where's Charlie? Charlie?
You can leave worry behind when Liberty stands with you. Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Well, a wave of cold air moves in starting today. The high just 40 degrees under a mostly cloudy sky. Yes, it is going to feel quite cold today. Tomorrow, even lower temperatures and with wind, we're wind chilled in the 20s and 30s throughout the day. Meanwhile, on Sunday, a little bit of a spike in temperatures up to 45, but we're tracking a weak system that could bring a sprinkle or a few snowflakes and then rain, and it could be heavy at times Tuesday, Wednesday of next week before we cool down yet again.
Ever dreamed of telecommuting to work because you just couldn't make it? Well, Mary Lowes, one of the meteorologists at Portland's KATU, she can't make it to work. Freezing rain. Oh. She got up at 2:30. One of the reporters can't make it either. Nobody's at work in